don't have any degrees or like letters after my name, letters before my name, anything like that. It just is a lot of lived experience.
Actually care. Like pretend that the future of the entire business and your career is dependent on this one person coming back.
The first coach that I hired, I think was 12 grand.
We have this, I guess, safe energy.
You know, if it's God's will, then I'll have more money. If it's God's will, then this would happen. Yeah, I believe in that, but I believe that there's steps that we need to do to get there.
You asked me a question that I've never been asked before.
And if you've gotten somewhere where people are starting to come to you and be like, dude, how'd you get through that? Show me how, pave the way. Then you might be a mentor.
Literally, let go, let God.
You don't. You're a grown fucking man. Delete it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a new episode of the Free Game with Crack podcast. Today I have Kyle Hein. Kyle, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you do a lot of different things, and you've done a lot of different things. Where I first met you was from running a gym. Then it was, I believe at the time you had something to do with Optimal Nutrition, which in the supplement world, they're like a very big powerhouse brand. And then where I've seen a lot lately is into the coaching space. And yeah, we're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to get some free game from you. And where should we start?
Dude, I'm glad you got the elephant in the room, because I'm thinking, like, how do I know Crack? Like, I know from the gym, but I don't know that. And Holt, right? So I think we have some mutual friends, and you graduated from Holt, right?
Yeah, I graduated with your sister.
That's right.
I was class of 06.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know why I forget these things,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I know Holt, and then I think the gym was the biggest one, seeing you in and out of there, and as a member, and yeah, a lot of changes in my life through that gym. Like, I thought that was the coolest career after getting out of my previous career. And
what was your previous career?
I was in law enforcement for some time. I say some time, which is, it's interesting because I'm sitting in your studio right now, and across the street was the old South. Yeah. This is my old stomping ground. So driving back was kind of surreal, and kind of what led to a lot of this coaching. And each one of those nuggets that you said at the beginning have all been a genesis, no pun intended, from the gym name of where we started.
Okay. So when you coach people now, what is, I guess, the transformation that you help people with?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the biggest transformation, there's a lot of, there's therapy and there's all these different things. Like, I guess the question could be, like, what is a coach? There's coaches, there's mentors. In recovery, there's sponsorship programs. And I think each one has a tier, or in the religious community, there's pastors, things like that, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
People who lead and pull you through. When I first got into coaching, not fairly recently, I guess I've been doing it a lot of my life, is there was this, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but an imposter syndrome that comes up. Like, I don't have any degrees or like letters after my name, letters before my name, anything like that. It just is a lot of lived experience. And so that's the majority of my coaching, is that I've had opportunities to go through a lot of stuff. I don't know if I can say shit on here or not.
Yeah. Shit.
I've been through a lot of shit and have come out on the other side and still get to go through those things, but have found different ways to manage those. And when you go through stuff, what's really cool is if you can get out of your head, you realize that you're not the only one going through it. Just like you building a business, right? You're not the only dude building a business. There's a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And when you can sit down with like-minded people, say, yeah, I've been there. Let's hear your experience, your strength, and your hope, and how you got there. People start to listen to it.
Yeah. See, I need some advice, because we did speak a few months back where I was asking you some advice on structuring a coaching program, where to get started with coaching, because I would say one of my goals with this is somebody's watching this right now and they have went through something in life, or they have a skill that they have, and they can definitely help people out there, and they've heard of coaching, so they're somewhat aware of it, but they maybe don't know where to get started with, like, everything. Like, where do you get started? How do you structure it? The confidence of overcoming that identity or imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see ads all the time, and maybe it's because I'm in that world, and so it's in my algorithm of, like, I make this much money doing coaching and you can do this too. So yeah, that person's watching this right now and they're going to get some free game.
Yeah. Yeah. That if I'm like going through a Rolodex in my mind, there's different. So there's health and beauty. That's a big one for coaching, right? There's financing, or finances, helping people make more money.
Okay.
Relationship. And then I can't think of the fourth one. If I said 3 before, it'll come back to me. But even doing this and trying to navigate like what I'm doing next, like who is a coach, who constitutes making a good coach. And for me, it's been before helping anybody else, I had to help myself. That was the biggest journey. So I don't care what self-help books are out there, what you read. I've been to a lot of therapists, a lot of retreat centers, a lot of rehabs, a lot of in and out of different places. And there were some people, I don't want to make them wrong for it, but they had, shit before their name and they seemed very smart and all these different things, but they didn't have that lived experience. Yeah. And most people that have lived experience, there's some trauma that's associated to it. And that trauma, because the only person that's going to hold themselves back from any of these opportunities moving forward is themselves. So until I got my stuff right and in order and really started doing personal development, for me, it started when I got sober. But then I thought it started before that. So that was the big journey of like, which is a whole conversation itself. Like, how do we get there? How do we find a coach? How do we find a mentor? Like, how do these things actually work? And then when do we arrive? And the big ding, ding, ding is we never arrive. It's part of the journey. And if you've gotten somewhere where people are starting to come to you and be like, dude, how'd you get through that? Show me how, pave the way. Then you might be a mentor. But when people start paying you for it, and we can talk about that as well, then the coaching structure starts to not change a little bit, but it's more on the business end, I should say. What
was your first exposure to coaching, or like getting a coach yourself, or like maybe even like hiring a personal trainer from your fitness days, or did you ever train people in your fitness days?
Yeah, I did. I think that just was part of my gig at the gym that we had, and I really didn't want to do it.
Okay.
My thought was, but I guess it's what made money for the gym, and we were doing CrossFit and things like that. And what I found is that in those moments, it was, the health and wellness space. It was about making people feel better and get closer to their goals. But after working out with these people and different people that I was coaching, I never had anybody come to me. I don't think it was because I was a shitty coach, but hey, I don't have abs yet. I'm not seeing more veins, or whatever they were saying, or whatever their goals were. They would talk to me about problems that they had.
Yeah.
Different things that they were experiencing in life. And there was that concept of this shared suffering, like people going through hard stuff together, and then having somebody, and I was in the midst of it. So at that time, I think it was more of a selfish drive of coaching. And there was a story in my mind of, I don't need a coach. I know what I'm doing. So lost the gym.
Well, that's a big thing I want to talk about, because I think a lot of people, they have this false belief of thinking getting a coach is a sign of weakness, when it's actually a sign of intelligence and seriousness. I mean, I would say in a perfect world, in every aspect of your life, you would find somebody that's better at that than you and pay them to coach you. So for example, if it's from my family, I cook meals, and so I want to become better at cooking, I'm going to hire a chef to coach me so I can get better at cooking. And then I'm going to work out 4 or 5 days a week, and I'm going to hire a personal trainer to help me get better at working out. And then I own a business, so I'm going to find a business coach that's made more money and is further along in their journey, and have them coach me. But I think a lot of people feel kind of embarrassed to like say that they need help. And so like that's kind of like step one of getting over for a lot of people when it comes to coaching, I think.
Yeah, that voice in the head gets really, really loud, especially like we were talking about trauma and other things. And just, right now there's really, in our society and the access we have to everything. I can pick this up and I'll have so many ads, and there's so many coaches on there, and I could be deemed as one of them. But there's people who've paved the path already. And sometimes our egos get in the way of, I'm going to try it differently. I'm going to try this recipe instead of saying, hey, do this and follow it. So for me, I went years without, and it's ironic because in the recovery community, you know, a key thing is having a sponsor. And what's that? That's somebody who's sober, who's staying sober and shows you the way, if you will.
Is a sponsor somebody that used to have that problem?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Somebody in the recovery community.
So
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So it's not somebody saying, hey, like I tell me more about your blackout days. I've never had something like that, or, you know, keeping a fifth under your bed or something like that. It's like that shared suffering of somebody who's been through it, what life was like, what happened, their transformation, and what it's like now. And even this, like, I can help like niching down on this. I know coaches that help like women get acne off their cheeks or whatever, like something so specific. And you can't go to a doctor. You could go to a doctor office, you could go to these other places. But, you know, when we vet these people and we find out if they can solve our painful problem, I don't know why more people aren't doing it. So it took me some time to go through and thinking, and what I was sick of is getting more of the same, more of my bullshit. Like a business starting, I have a great idea, but then I get stuck on this. And so many years, like developing business, I never went to school for business. I was a cop, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then I got injured. And then there's things like, what is forecasting? I thought that was something on the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Or like,
I think it's something on the Weather Channel. What is it?
We got to talk. Or P&L statements. I'm still like racking my brain.
Oh,
like,
I get it. No,
what the heck is this? And so
forecasting is looking at your numbers and being able to predict realistically. Okay. Got it.
And those things. Yeah. When you, even when I say it, I'm like, yeah, what is it? Get other people that can do that. So that's, I'm going ahead of myself with the development side, but it wasn't until I had all these different ideas, and there was definitely a genesis to all this happening, until I hired my first coach and to help me with things on Instagram. And, you know, from that, there was a price tag to it. And
how did you feel though? Like, let's take me to where, because usually that's when you want the most help, is when you're in the most pain.
Yeah.
So like, how were you feeling at that time financially? How were you doing?
Yeah. The gift of desperation is a very good thing. And there was times where I couldn't afford it. And so I just went with the story of, you know, I grew up very religious, that changed to a lot of spirituality now, but I did have this like racket mindset that did keep me stuck. Like, you know, if it's God's will, then I'll have more money. If it's God's will, then this would happen. Yeah, I believe in that, but I believe that there's steps that we need to do to get there. And so I just would make excuses all the time. Again, I wasn't going deep within. You know, the cave in which we fear to enter holds the treasure that we seek is one of my favorite quotes from Joseph Campbell. And that's true. Like, what am I afraid of? Because the reality was, I think I was afraid to succeed, because what if it got too big? Or what if it failed? Like, if I had a lot of stuff fail before, I felt like I failed as a cop when I was injured. You know, I failed in this area of my life, all these different things. So why in the world would I invest in something, pay money, and for it to fail? But that's one of the things that come, you know, with business, and that risk that we need to be willing to take. So it took a lot of, like, I don't really know what the turning point was for that, other than I was just in a position to do it. And, you know, the algorithm was showing me, hey, these people are making money this way, I'm going to try it. And then I ended up going all in with it. And like, I have some programs, I have some stuff, you know, picked up a client within like the first week, and then picked up a client or with a city out west, like the next week. And it, like, my return on investment was like 11 times, the cost of the coaching program. And I just picked up another coach and the same exact thing happened. So there are these thoughts that, you know, when we talk about mindset and doing the inner work, questions that we ask ourselves. So if somebody's listening, which I'm sure they are.
I hope somebody
Maybe we're just in this room doing nothing. It could get pretty weird.
Hey, like, the cameras aren't even on. Yeah. I just wanted you to come here.
We have somebody here. Great. You know, one of my first coaches asked me the question. He's like, hey, are all your bills paid? Yeah. Well, I have that one that was due last week. I can pay it. I'm just, why is there so much anxiety around paying it? Or if you're doing something, you're really good at it and you're expecting other people to pay you, but you're not paying other people. Like karma, universe, whatever you want to call it, it just, once I freed those things up, I can't remember the exact term of what they called it, but I think of it as a tree and like the root structure that's at the base and then the tree, like if your roots are solid, you know, you're going to get more fruit out of those things. So if I'm asking clients to pay me good money to solve a painful problem they have, I'm going to be out there paying other people to help me in my journey as well. And the balance also comes too with like, I give stuff away when I'm working. I don't work with other alcoholics and charge them. We just don't do that in the program, right?
Okay.
Like, give me $5, I'll get you sober. It's not how that works, right? There are portions of us that give away, and that might be part of my journey, is that I've given a lot of stuff away, a lot of free game away, a lot of opportunities for other people. But again, I go back to the internal work is really what changed the game for me. And then getting other people, because my best thinking only got me so far and it only gets me so far.
Yeah.
But when I can bring other people's best thinking in and surround myself by good soil, then that's when I really start to grow. That's how when I thrive is coming and hanging out with dudes like you and jumping on a podcast or having people like I can go to and be like, dude, I just landed this big sale. I'm really excited. This person's transforming, keeping the anonymity, of course, and going in that direction. And that's what gets me fired up and moving forward.
Real quick, this episode is sponsored by Jerry's Automotive right here in Lansing, Michigan. If you're in the need of any type of regular vehicle maintenance or even major repairs, I highly recommend Jerry's Automotive. They're family owned and operated for 60 plus years, and they're just great people, and they know what they're doing there. So make sure if you need any auto repair, you go to Jerry's Automotive in Lansing, Michigan, and you can go to their website and book your next appointment at freegamewithcrack.com/Jerry's. That'll take you directly to Jerry's Automotive. Back to the episode. One thing that stood out was it seems like you've always created a safe space for people. Like when you're talking about when you're training people, they're there for like working out and getting in shape, but then they're opening up to you about their whole life. And I was thinking when I was offering like studio sessions where people would be in the studio with me, so much of that was outside of the music stuff that like kept them coming back. And it was like, I feel like it's, and this is what I've taught my guys is like, actually care. Like pretend that the future of the entire business and your career is dependent on this one person coming back. How much differently would you treat them than maybe normally? And because I did go through a phase where I learned that the hard way, where I was, I guess, maybe viewing customers and clients as numbers, as in like, we had this many this year, next year we got to get to this. And so I'm focused on growing and growing and growing and growing versus like really pouring into the people that are there. And yeah, that was a lesson, because this kind of ties. I would love for my wife to coach in the future too, because we have that same quality of, last year they have this new thing in Lansing. It's like the Lansing Fiesta. Just picture like Common Ground mixed with the Crystal Ray Fiesta, if you ever went to that a long time ago, mixed with the carnival. But we happened to be there, and you know, we had seen some people, we're talking to them. One of the guys comes up and he starts opening up about, you know, he caught his ex-girlfriend cheating and then this, and he's telling us the details, and we're sitting there and we're listening to him. It was like we had just naturally, not even trying, like just naturally created this safe space where he opened up and he's talking, right? Well, then another guy comes up, and then we turn and we start talking to him, and then he starts opening up about his mom and his dad and this, and like, it's not the environment for something like that, you know? And then he's mid-sentence, he was like, I don't even know why I'm telling you guys about this stuff. Like, and he's not somebody that we even see every 5, 6. It'd be like right now when I was giving you the tour, if you're like, man, so yesterday with my dad, and then this happened and this. Yeah, so I was just thinking on that. I reflect a lot, and I'm thinking we have this, I guess, safe energy, and it sounds like you've have that same safe energy, because if you think about our phone call a few months ago, I was sharing things with you that was like our first phone call. Yeah. So yeah, you got that safe. Do you think that's something that people either just have or don't have?
I think we all have it. I think we're born with it. And I think life happens and we get like this, I'm going to say for us dudes, alpha armor comes on and we have like our story and what actually happened. And then behind what happened, that thing that we're hiding, that shame and guilt presents itself. Our story is out here. Like this is all story for me at one point, keep people away. I want to look tough. But behind all that is that light or that source, that God. And we come into this world, we're all longing for connection. That's what we want is connection. And it's just like ego seeks ego, spirit seeks spirit, and connection seeks connection. So when people see that or their need for that, I think they're thirsty for it and they're looking for that. It's like salt. They get more thirsty.
Yeah.
And they're attracted towards that. And that comes at different opportunities. That's the cool thing about coaching is if you have that, you're going to be more of an effective coach. That's why I go back to the inner work and taking care of yourself, because when somebody comes to you with connection, and if you have a gift of disarming people, when that person gets disarmed, it gives them an opportunity to open up and do something that is absolutely terrifying. And that thing has become vulnerable. And when somebody's vulnerable, like you being an artist is one of the most vulnerable things. I don't know if anybody shared this with you, but I'm sure you experience it. You're saying, look at everything that my bride and I has created. Look at this. And I'm inviting you into our home and I'm opening up myself for criticism, for failure, for all these different things. And this is an expression of me. That's vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that goes with that is also being authentic in that. So if somebody shows up and your true authentic self, that'll start to attract that as well. And people will come and they might be, full of that armor, but it's gotten too heavy and they need to, they're at that fest that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And they just see that and they lock in. And how cool is it for you that you've had that opportunity? And I think that's what the real gifts are in life. Sometimes we think it's money and success and all these different things, which those things are cool and they're a vehicle to do cool shit. And that's why we build stuff, right? And have fun with it. But when you can just talk somebody off a ledge or sit there and listen to them about their dad or, maybe a sick child or a divorce they went through or something like that, that changes the game for people.
Yeah.
And once you do that more with people, with coaching and mentoring, it does take the pressure off because you realize it's not about you. The minute that you make it about you, the pressure increases. It's like the analogy of an archer. That's a professional. He goes up and he's throwing arrows and he's just zinging bullseyes every single time. And then all of a sudden come up and be like, there's a trophy on the line, there's $100,000. And then he's missing those every single time.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the pressure behind it. But when you operate in your true authentic self, what pressure is there? What are you going to,
I feel
lose?
like there's none then.
There's none. And in my journey, especially in recovery, I shared about coming up in a religious background and different trauma that happened on the police force and just all around. One thing that I really stick to is that, I believe there's a God and I'm not it. And that helps me a lot. So if I'm coaching somebody and that imposter syndrome comes up, I just use me to the best ability. On the way to a podcast, it's like, why me? Or on the way to coach somebody or to implement these systems in a city, why me? It's like, well, if not me, then who? And if we all had that mentality, I think we'll have even bigger ripple waves once we can get past ourselves. But that armor comes up. It's like, hey, this is how you're going to see me. This is how I want you to see me. But really, this is my blueprint and who I was created to be. That's what's right here. And that's what the world needs. We don't need clones of a bunch of people trying to be this person or that person. Like we were born into this world with an authentic blueprint that just gets shit on along the way.
Do you think the only way to see that is to kind of get your ass beat by life and have life? Well, I think that's one way of learning. Because I'm thinking to myself right now is you're very at peace with Kyle. You know Kyle. Confidence in Kyle. Courage in Kyle. Authenticity in Kyle. I have that same thing, and I think a lot of it has came over these last couple of years. And these last couple of years have been, I went through hell. So before I went through hell, like I think it's, imagine you're just standing outside of this like jungle, and it's like, if you go through this jungle, you're not going to be in there for a short time. You're going to be there for a long time. It's not going to be pleasure. It's going to be very painful. But the version of you that comes out on the other side is going to be unrecognizable, and your confidence is going to be through the roof. Or you can go through this route, and it's going to be quick. There's going to be no discomfort, but you're not going to grow, and you're going to stay the same person.
Yeah.
So like, choose wisely. That's what life taught me in these last 2 years. And because of that, now I keep signing myself up for hard shit that like the current version of me is not, like I don't currently have the skills to pass this test. So I know it forces me to like level up and grow. And that's where I have this certain confidence, but I went through hell. Do you think it's possible to have that level of confidence and identity and knowing who you are without going through that?
In an authentic matter, no. I think there's a lot of people that look really confident. I see it in the military, first responder world, like dudes that just look like they're stuff. And I've worked with a lot of them. They just look like their shit is together. And then behind closed doors, they're suffering. I see it in the religious community, people who are deacons, pastors, other that are presenting and putting up this thing. They look really confident because they should, but there's that pressure and there's stuff even, further that needs to be worked on. And so I just lost my train of thought on that.
The confidence, maybe the faking it till you make it, having that. I had an idea off of that though. I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, that's my authentic self saying, I had it, and then you get it, you lose it, you get it, you lose it, and it kind of dwells. But there are, so it's kind of like a refining process, right? And I think I know what I was getting ready to share is that when we go through stuff, it's depending on our programming and different life experiences that we've had, we as humans, we're meaning-making machines. We attach meaning to everything. So you have viewers on TV, you have here, if I have a red Solo cup and I put it down and I was like, Crack, what do you think about that? And you're like, oh, dude, I had orange juice for breakfast in a red Solo cup. And I was like, dude, I used to fill up 3 of those before bed with cheap wine until my face went numb. And that's what I thought. And then you have a little kid that was like, oh, that red Solo cup was my first, but it's a red Solo cup.
Yeah.
Right. So we attach meaning to all these things. And what I found is like, sometimes there's this perception, especially in these more elite communities, that people think they're terminally unique. I'm going to use that phrase, terminally unique. Like my significance, I'm a combat veteran. I'm a this. I'm like these things that, I can't get help because I'm this. Like all these things that people say that somehow makes their thing unique or more special. And once we can realize we're all on the same playing ground as human beings being human and navigating these. And so I believe the real miracle is with the question that you asked is going back to, like in recovery, we talk about like our glasses were on backwards and we just had to flip them over. So if you take your glasses and you flip them on, everything's going to be blurry. But the real miracle comes from seeing things differently.
Yeah.
And having that conscious awareness. Part of becoming aware and waking up is to be conscious. And if you don't have something that's guiding your awareness or your consciousness, and that has been your best thinking over time, then all you're going to continue to get is more, better, different, more the same. That's why I said I believe there's a God and I'm not it, because every time I played God is when I got myself in trouble. But when I was able to flip those glasses around and start to see things differently, then everything changed. So that's the miracle. It's like, yeah, I went through hard stuff, and most of us will be like, why did I go through that hard thing? Is it God punishing me? Is it because I did that thing 10 years ago? What if it's just because you went through hard stuff?
Yeah.
And you might never know the answer, or you might know the answer from a dude that comes up to you at a festival and be like, I would never be able to help this guy if I didn't experience XYZ.
Yeah.
That shared experience breeds connection. And that's what we all long for.
What I have found is like, it aligns with the whole everything happens for you, not to you. You grow through life, don't go through life. But every time I've had an issue, it's like I look at it like a video game, And then, you know how at the end of level 1, you get to the boss?
Yeah.
To me, it's whatever the current problem is, unless I look for the lesson, I get stuck on that same level, stuck on that same level. And so it could be, man, it's been a lot of different things. Like, I was talking to my wife in the last few months about it, and I said, she was complaining about like a negative thing. And what I was saying is, if you look at it differently, that negative thing is a blessing to our life, because it's like the perfect hand to deal somebody to not want to do that and to only want to do this, which it kind of like sets us up for success, because basically this thing is spend as many hours as you can at the studio and build it to be as big as it possibly can be. So I'm like, we are actually dealt the perfect hand for our current situation. But for me, until I like seen it from that way, I stayed in the negative frame always. And it was like the problem just lingered and lingered and lingered and lingered, even with like family stuff or relatives or friend support or financial things or... All right, so you see and hear this quality. This is just one example of the many different services that we specialize in here at Crack House Studios. Whether you're a brand or business or an artist or creative, we offer services to help you grow. Everything from professional video content, audio, social media, marketing, coaching, or even if you're just looking for a place to create, we got you covered. 20 plus years in the game, we are the highest rated studio in the state of Michigan. Artists travel across the entire country specifically to work with us here in Lansing, Michigan, at Crack House Studios. If you're interested in any of our services, head over to crackhousstudios.com. Yeah, I mean, I could think of so many different things, but it was always until I started looking for like the lesson. And then it was like, that's the lesson. That's the lesson right now. This is what we're supposed to be seeing. And it was like, I see it now. And then within a matter of hours or days or weeks, it was like, boom, here a blessing comes. And I was like, so now I'm like pattern recognition. I'm like, okay, hard time, look for the lesson, learn the lesson, receive the blessing, move up to the next level. Okay, new level, new version of you. You're stuck here. You got to beat the boss. How do you beat the boss? Start looking around. Where's the clues? What's the lesson I'm supposed to be learning right now? Aha, that's the lesson. And sometimes what sucks is, I guess when my pattern recognition skills weren't as good, sometimes it took 1.5 to 2 years to find the lesson. Now I'm getting better where I'm like, this thing in my life right now sucks. What's the lesson? Like, I want to find the lesson as fast as humanly possible so I can beat this level and level up again now. And
most people quit at that point though. And I can tell you take pride in all this, because you didn't just take me through the door and then we sat down here and this was all ready to go. You showed me each intricate part, introduced me to your wife, like showed me all this, and it showed that you took pride in it and you actually cared about your shit and what you're doing, which is a big deal. And I think with those different levels, that there are people who, you know, there's the stairs and then there's the escalator. And, you know, sometimes it's, you know, you got to take the stairs to the next level, and then sometimes it's just up. But if all of us are constantly going to, you know, just the escalator and we're there and we arrived, we miss so much. And most of us, like if we're thinking about building a business or creating wealth or whatever it is, if you get to that point, like if a genie came and was like, you're ready and you're there, it would crush you. It would kill you, because there's so many other systems and things that come in. It's like a baby doesn't come out running or eating meat, right? There's these steps and these systems. And at least for me, I rushed so much through this. Like there are times where I'm like, man, I'm 40, just turned 40, and I feel like I'm just getting my shit together. Like, you know, finally building a business that's working, or finally doing this, got a solid relationship, like all these things. And it's like, that was part of the game. That's part of the game. Like there was different bosses, and thank God there were so many times I wanted to quit, but I didn't. And when I flipped the glasses around, I expected the miracle, and life just kept getting better, and it keeps getting better. And that's amongst the hard shit, because what people with poor mindsets do is they focus all their attention on that one thing. That's the bad thing, instead of, all right, what could be the silver linings or the silver lining in this, you know? And it's so simple. It's just not easy, because it is, when I coach people, most of the time I'm talking about it's just a shift up here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a matter, and it's not telling you to be naive. Like, hey, your studio wall is white. And you're like, no, it's black. No, it's white. And we're going back and forth. Like, it's just some naive stuff. It's like, if this isn't serving you, what is a mindset? Because you can't add an inch to this or change the color like that or whatever. But what you can do is you can change this.
How you see it, your perspective.
Yeah, how you see it, your perspective on it, the story behind it. And usually you have to go upriver and then find where it is that made you start believing that way. Like, hey, I'm not worthy of love and connection, or where's the fear coming from? Because a lot of this is, we are directed. I believe, there's all these different emotions, right? We talk about, and I think it comes down to love and fear. I think those are the two things, and they can't exist together. It's love and fear, love and fear.
How do you get people to see that? Like, is it asking the right questions to get them to see it? Like, because clearly it could be a mindset limiting belief that they've maybe had for 20 years or 25 years, where they have an identity thing. It's like, oh no, I learned that the book that helped me the most was Atomic Habits. You ever read that?
No.
But he talks about, like, people that attach identity to thing is the highest form of something. Significance, though.
Yeah.
Like the highest level of significance is when somebody identifies as it. And so that made me think of the people that are like, I'm not a math person, or I'm not a reader, or I'm not a runner, or I'm not a walker. And the identity thing. So to get them to see it from a different perspective, if they've seen life only one way forever, and obviously they know it doesn't serve them, so then they come to you for help. What are some tactical things that you do that can help somebody see what they're not currently seeing, or maybe they're too close to the forest to see the trees?
Yeah. There's a book that I just read called The Four Agreements, and I believe, like, our mouth. Dude, have you read it?
No, I'm about to write it down.
It's great.
Oh shit!
It's a quick listen, quick read, but there's so many things that we speak. Actually, we believe, right? You say something long enough, you're going to believe it. You don't say something long enough, you're going to believe it. And when you were talking about identity, a lot of especially working with cops and veterans, or anybody that's created an identity in something, you're going to lose that at some point. For me, it was a badge that went away, and that's when my shit went sideways. But I'm way more than that. Like, and even like I hear young women when I was growing up in church, it's like, oh, my passion in my life is going to be, to be a mother someday. It's like, you're 15 years old. You have some time in between. You got stuff, you got a life to live and to experience. And so what I do, if I'm coaching somebody, I'll take them back to, I'm going to use a law enforcement reference, like back to the crime scene. Where did this happen? And when people, like, awareness is one of the greatest agents of change. So if we can whiteboard something and I can show them, and we talk about adverse childhood experiences. So things that happen before, like shit that happened in your life before the age of 18 that are going to create these precursors of being in certain career paths, right?
Yeah.
Like military, law enforcement, ultra religious, gang activity, like these different things where essentially we're looking for a new mommy and daddy, right? And once they start to see these and be like, holy cow, I'm behaving because they see it. And usually when somebody's done suffering, or they, it's a last house on the block, if you will, and they're looking, they're like, that's me.
Okay.
And it's kind of like in sales. If, we were doing a sale right now and you were getting ready to close me, I'm like, I need to go talk to my wife. I have an hour and a half drive home. What's going to happen? I'm going to find every excuse to cancel the sale. I'm going to think through it. So you strike the iron while it's hot, and we're showing that. And then we start to unpack what that looks like with the developmental trauma. Hey, player, you're not the only one that has this thing. Across the board, the people that we work with have X, Y, Z. And then we take them on a journey to help them repair that. And it's not something that's overnight, but over time, life starts to get reasonably better. Yeah. If somebody's willing to dive to that, the cave in which we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek. And that's in here.
To figure out that path for the journey for them to go through, like when you first made that path, was it reflecting on the path that you went through, or,
Yeah, so with coaching, there's a collective of different things that I found have worked for me, haven't worked for me, talking to other people. So there's not one set thing, like somebody's going to go through this, they're going to watch this movie that we show them, or they're going to have an hour coaching session. And it's not really, I think the biggest thing is getting somebody to realize that they're not special. And that can really piss somebody off if you're talking to them and they're telling your story. Well, I had this happen to me. I was abused. I was raped. I had all this nasty stuff happen. And you look at them, you're like, dude, you're not special. With all the love in my heart.
Yeah.
Get the fuck over your story. Like there's more to it, right? And so once we can plow through that, and somebody starts to see. So there was a study done, I don't know how many years ago, but it had to do with rats. And I don't know if we're far off from a rat's brain, but They put rats in a bucket, and these rats would swim, and then they had a something over it, so it was dark in there. And the rats would die in X amount of time. I think it was like 4 minutes or something. I'm making up this number, but it was pretty quick. And then the second set of rats, they put in a bucket, they would swim, but there was a hole in it, and there was some light, and they could tread water. And they could keep treading water. Because they saw that there was light, and that light is hope. So through all this, I'm not just saying, hey, get over your shit. I'm saying, hey, maybe there's a different way of looking at it. This is what has worked, but let's give some hope, some faith, the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen.
Yeah.
So you can start to see it a little bit more when you put somebody in front of you that's been there. It's like, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how in the heck I could get sober, but I can get sober because that dude got sober.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can overcome post-traumatic stress, but if that dude can do it, I can do it. And that's part of the story. And talking about identity, and then your new purpose and identity comes from something else that's working through you. It's not, I'm a cop, I'm a mom, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a son, I'm a daughter. You're going to lose that at some point. We're all going to lose it.
Perspective is the gym then. Because even with my call with you, you asked me a question that I've never been asked before. And like, it could be such a simple question, but like that changed my perspective. Like I'd never thought of it that way. So like you introduced a new way to look at it.
Yeah. Do you remember what it was? I don't.
Yeah. So
maybe I should.
What I have found was, all right, I'm very good on the one-to-one. So like custom. So I'm looking at a person and they're asking me stuff and I know how to help them. And then another person one-to-one, I know how to help them. And then the question you asked me was, you said, if there's 10 people in front of you, like I've never imagined more than one, but that was it. Like every time I tried to create the coaching program, I'm thinking of, give me a person and I can create a custom plan for them. Give me another person, I can create a custom plan for them. But I never looked at it from, you asked me, picture 10 people that have came to you for help or that would be ideal for your coaching, and they're all standing in front of you. How would you help all of them? And that shifted. Then it made me think of a more, not general, as in like generic, but more of a less super niche specific helping them. Where when I thought of 10, I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's an entrepreneur that has a 7-figure business, but they need help on social media. This guy's an up-and-coming rapper, but no one knows who he is and he wants more people to hear his music. This person's a photographer, but he's not making any money, so he still has a full-time job and he needs to get more eyeballs on him so he can get booked for more photo shoots. This person, like, I went through the 10 and I'm like, okay, they all have this in common. So the one thing, if I could help all of them with one thing, it would be, but that was the question. So that's why I was asking, when you're talking to them and you can see plain as day, this is your problem, this is it, and it probably stems from this. Is it just asking the right questions to get them to think of it? Because, not to go too long-winded, but like when you're talking about performing versus just wanting to help them, when I first got into coaching, up until honestly probably recently, and I don't know if performing is the right word, but like I think I looked at it just as someone's paying hundreds of dollars to talk to me and they want my advice right now. So I'm just showing up and I'm kind of like fire hosing them with information on my performance.
Yeah.
And I think I left a lot of people probably flabbergasted with like, this was good. You're smart. You know what you're talking about. And I'm exaggerating, but one of the more recent ones that I think the outcome went 10 out of 10, I barely talked and I just asked questions.
It's a secret.
It was like, I shut the fuck up and was like, well, what do you want to be doing? You know, well, I have all these ideas and I'm thinking this, and this. Which one stands out to you the most if you only had to pick one? It'd probably be this one. Why? Well, because it was all just, I asked a question and got them. But then that was the best, by the end of the call, me seeing them and their face and this like, I got to do this more often. This was great.
Real quick, if you didn't know, I offer a very limited amount of one-on-one calls. Whether you're feeling stuck or you just want personal help, go to crackhousestudios.com/call. Talk to you soon. Back to the video.
Dude, learn to listen and listen to learn, right?
Okay.
The answer is always in the room, and it'll come through you. And I think that's a big thing with sales. And I'm not a sales guru by any means. Sales, coaching, is that we can tell people don't want to know how much shit you know. They want to know how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And so if you have the 10 people in the room and you know the common theme is that they want to make more money, and you need to understand what a bottleneck is or a constraint, and that they're it and they need to change their mindset, then how are you going to do that? Dude, we're not a genie. We can't read minds. You have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And so some of it is like, there's a book I'm reading right now, 92 Ways to Talk to People, I believe it is. And there's some cool things in there, like tactics with looking at people in their eyes and how to just certain ways of extracting from people to learn how to help people. And so the moment, and that's what my social media was, and the old platform I had before was, even if I put on social media the stuff I actually do, excuse me, nobody's gonna listen. Like, super woo, what? Like, you have to hit people where they're at, and, you know, even like just street talk, like right where they're at, elicit those pain bodies, because we do. And also, as a professional, we're not going to give away all our trade secrets. We're going to say, hey, I got a really good cookie. Here it is. Try it.
Yeah.
We're not going to say, hey, I have a quarter cup of sugar in there and a half cup of brown sugar and all these different things. It's like, this is it. You like it? Okay.
Yeah.
But there's more.
Yeah.
And then that's when you present it. So I don't think even in, sales, some people get really cringy off of sales, and it's really just relationship and connection. And we want them to know everything and what we can do. And we seem desperate instead of just listening. That's when I've done the best with clients, is just listening. Okay, dude, yeah, we can get you there. I've done that same thing. Mm-hmm. You remind me a lot of Joe, and Joe experienced the same thing, and this was his outcome. And that has helped me, is just to slow down in every aspect. It's like, it's just, it almost is backwards. Like this hustle culture, which so many people, I see it all the time, more, better, different, more, better, different. And then they keep getting more of the same. It's like, maybe we just switch and try to chill out a little bit, learn to listen to learn. The solution's already in you. You know what it is and how you're going to help people. There might be some creative ways that you need to put it on a platter to do it. And just see if it works, and not being like so stiff, like, oh, this worked this time, and riding it out and see what works and what doesn't. That's with business. That's with helping people.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're human. Like the David Richo, 5 Givens of Life. Everything changes and ends is one of them, and pain is part of life. And I think if you understand those two things, they can really help navigate where you live, work, and play. Those are 2 heavy hitters that come to mind right now.
Slowing down, that, yeah. Mm-hmm. How long have you slowed down? Because I've been, following hustle culture stuff for over a decade, where it's go, 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 fast, 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 hurry, hurry, hurry. Mm-hmm. And what me and my wife were in the hot tub a few months back, and okay, we're yin and yang. Mm-hmm. I'm very future, speed. She's very present, still. Mm. So we can balance each other out. And we joke, I say there's pros and cons to both, because with me comes a lot of anxiety and stress and worrying about things that don't even exist yet, but also responsibility with future thinking of planning things and whatnot. And then with the super present, chill person, they can maybe not be thinking about the future too much. Be like, in 2 days, this thing is due. Are you thinking about it? Are you just too present right now? Whatever. But yeah, slowing. What are different things you've done to help you slow down?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm sure, 10 years ago, were you more, let's go, let's fly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Body Keeps a Score talks a lot about just that. Your body, like, if you're going so fast, your body is going to tell you your back's going to go out. You're going to get a nasty cold. Like, something is going to happen. That's what trauma stores in there. And, you know, anxiety tends to be the things of the future, and depression, things of the past.
Yep.
So you get that question all the time. There's a term for it. I can't recall it right now, but if you can have like cast on the future without prudent concern or worry, but stay in the moment and be able to balance both those things, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
And, you know, future casting and tripping and things on that is a big trauma response, right? That's a big trauma thing that comes up. So for me, I had a lot of, like, I was sick of the dude that always was getting sick. I was sick of the dude that was always getting injured. And like, my body just felt like it was falling apart. And I thought it was there. I could go down a bunch of rabbit holes of what I thought it was. But I truly, once I let go and like stopped white knuckling things, life got better, which was really, really different. And when we talk about hustle culture and things like that, it's real. Like, if you have a family to feed, you're going to want to work, you know, to get money. Or if you have this thing due, you're going to want to do it. But once we have performance and based outcomes and we realize that everything's going to work out exactly how it's supposed to work out, just show up and give it your best. I think the problem comes when we have repeat behavior of going into it and being like, I failed. I'm so shameful because of this. I can't believe that this thing happened. And then that happens every single time we go to try to create or do something. And then it wreaks havoc on our vulnerability and authenticity.
I just learned a lesson. So that means I'm about to get a blessing from that right
What'd
there.
you learn?
Okay, so one was slowing down. So there was a time where I had the proof of concept. Like, I've been in business for as long as I've been in business. I had a music studio that was making money. And then there was a 7-month period where my old studio shut down and I needed to find a new studio. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I didn't have money to, like, I knew once I'm in business, I can afford the rent, but I don't have the money to, like, build out. Like, a lot of places I looked at were just shells. And I wanted a loan. And I remember I was pissed that I couldn't get a loan and just, like, snap my fingers and get $100,000, $200,000 and just build the studio and it's done. So that's one thing. Mm-hmm. How my brain works, it's like 4 things, but then they all tie together. So like, the first thing was that. It's just, I remember being pissed off that I couldn't get a loan or no one would lend me any money. And it's like, you don't believe in me. I've proven myself every single time. And right now, literally the only thing holding me back is money to go build this dream studio. And it's going to have a podcast studio and photography studio and all these different things. Couldn't get any money from anyone, right? Felt like maybe poor me, oh, well, no one will help me. Little bit of a little bitch victim mindset, okay? Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Then also with hustle, speed, let's go. I've caught myself saying over the years of, like, almost being sad that the studio wasn't finished yet. Third thing, when you're talking about pride, giving you a tour through the studio, every single room we stopped in, I told you the significance of it, and I still have the before pictures so everyone can see what it looked like before because of the progress and blah, blah, blah. Like, who I am, I wouldn't be who I am if I would have just, here's a loan, here's your studio. It's been 2.5 years of every month, we just painted this. Next month, we're building a booth. Next month, we just got the podcast studio. Next month, we're saving up for some lights. Next, you know, like, slow and steady. And I think, like, the last thing is being a father. Like, my daughter's 13. I could think, man, I just wish I could fast forward the next 5 years and have this place already making millions of dollars and it be built, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, but then your daughter's going to be 18. And if I were to snap my fingers, be 5 years from now, have millions of dollars and the studio is built, but now my daughter's 18, I would give up the millions of dollars to be able to go back to this spot that I'm in right now and have her be 13. Lesson.
Yeah. I'm so glad you shared that, and thanks for being vulnerable. I mean, we can be spoiled by abundance, and it's like that with our phones. It's like that in this cult. Like when we're given a lot, when we're given this vehicle, or we have opportunities to do that, it really can take away these opportunities that you shared. And most of us talk about currency with monies, right? Like we paying U.S. currency, but time. And that's the thing so it really hit me, when was it? A couple of years ago, I had a new gym membership over by where I live, and I was on the treadmill, and I was like, all right, I have 20 minutes of cardio to do today. That was my thing that I was doing after a workout. I was rushing 20 minutes. I'm like, I can look at it as, okay, 4 or 5 minute intervals, 2 10-minute intervals. Dude, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And on the treadmill was 20 minutes. The thing about life is we don't know what we have. We don't know when the candle gets blown out and there's no coming back, right? So we try to rush all these things, and we think that it's going to be, more, better, different, keeps getting us more of the same. So a solution to that is when we start to lean into acceptance. And the more acceptance I have, it doesn't mean being a pushover. It doesn't mean getting walked on. It means accepting these things for what is happening and trying not to control. Because so many times I can, when we talk about time as monetary currency, anytime I pull out of this current moment. So if I'm thinking about the drive home, or shoot, how many more minutes do we have? What about traffic? Dude, I just robbed us 15 seconds. We're never going to get those 15 seconds back. Money is the vehicle that allows us to do cool shit or to pay for things. But time is a currency that we all roll around with, and we're spending it like crazy. We can't even see the bank account in hopes, and then we distract or we spend or we don't spend, and it's all based off this fear. Instead of just chilling out, you have 20 minutes on the treadmill, and you can do other stuff in that in between. So that's what's really helped me in these times where my mind can get, go down a rabbit hole really quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't have to chase all those. Or I want to share this real quick. There's something in the rooms that I go to, they call it No First Drink Friday. And the concept in recovery is you don't take that first drink. If you don't take the first drink, you won't take the second drink.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, that's genius. Like, I didn't get drunk off the first drink. I would always chase the third or the fourth until I was, sideways. I liked it. Not anymore. It's horrible. But that applies to our thoughts, right? No first thought. Like that first thought that comes in and said, dude, you're an imposter. You'll never, you'll never get this loan. You'll never be able to do this. You're this X, whatever story is going on in our mind. That's a thought that you can watch and you don't have to ride off into the wind with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people believe those thoughts, and that's what gets them in trouble. Like, what do I believe? What don't I believe? Is this true? Is this not true? And that's why we go upriver and try to figure out where these negative belief patterns and thought processes are coming. Programming, if you will.
Programming is a great word. Mm-hmm. I have a friend. He's going to school where you do therapy or counseling or something like that. It's psychology, something, but I was venting to him sometime a few months ago, but I was complaining about a certain thing, and then he was like, but there's a reason why they do that, and that's the programming. And I was like, oh, that's a great concept to, and he was like, there's a reason why this person's not honest with you. It could be the programming that you've done. Maybe you haven't created a safe place for them to open up so they feel, and that's why they're not being honest. There's programming there. I was like, yo, I love that concept.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it shows up in every area of our lives. Like I'm a firm believer, like there's times where, you can read people, or if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to school for psychology, and then you get to know them a little more. I'm not saying this about your friend.
Yeah.
They had a pretty jacked up childhood. They're trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, he did.
And once we start to understand, like, I'm behaving because, then we can start to vision plan better and do different things in our life, because we're starting to grow, and the trajectory of our lives is being pointed from a direction of authenticity opposed to fear and trying to figure out and make sense. All these things, we're meaning making machines. We're full of fear. We're trying to control all these things. But once we can get those squared away and we let go of the reins, life starts to get a lot better. And it where we live, our communities, these systems can be implemented there, where we work, our job, what we're building. And I think what a lot of, especially men, miss out on is the concept of play. Like, just playing and enjoying. Like, what are we here for? We're doing all this stuff and we're building. And if we're in hustle culture, when do we get a time to, play? We talk about going back to high school. Like, I've been reminiscing on that a while. Like, dude, what would I be doing in high school right now?
Yeah.
Probably playing a lot more than I am right now. Who knows?
I want to introduce you guys to Royal Legacy Clothing. It's a clothing brand that myself and my best friend Dylan co-own. We started this about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we had a lot of different things to learn, a lot of life to experience, and we took a few years off. And then in this year, in 2022, I'm excited to announce that we're relaunching it. Now, what Royal Legacy Clothing means to me is, picture the guy that comes into work just a little bit early, a little bit before everyone else, because he wants to get a step ahead. Picture the guy that when everyone else is done working, he stays late. He's the last one there because he wants more out of life. That person is who's wearing Royal Legacy. The goal is to build a legacy, so do that while wearing Royal Legacy. I'm just picturing my come up over the last 10 to 20 years, and I wish I could go back and show me wearing Royal Legacy during all of those years. I think self-awareness is key in knowing who we are, but also it's just as important, if not more important, to know who we are not. And who I am not is, I'm not a loser. I'm not the guy that's never gonna amount to his full potential. And with connecting and networking and meeting a lot of different people, the people that I resonate with the most and connect to are people that all want more out of life. One life, one legacy. RoyalLegacyClothing.com. You guys can use coupon code CRACK and save 10% off at the checkout. We greatly appreciate all of your support.
My favorite picture of me from the last 5 years is when we were building the B room. I'm like laying on the floor, and I remember laying on the floor because I was just talking about, like, I'm laughing at being just exhausted. I was like, dog, my brain, I'm running on fumes right now. I just remember laying on the floor and we were all just like laughing and stuff. But yeah, it's like we're laughing in the room. And to me, I think that's like more of the play. And then how you're talking about acceptance. For me, it's been having a stronger relationship with God and believing, and to where it is the quote that's on people's like living rooms and stuff, is it let go, let God?
Yeah.
Literally, let go, let God. When I was talking to you about like slower time at the studio, even then I had accepted the fact of, if it's not meant to be and there's a lesson, like maybe part of my story is supposed to be, I put my all into this studio and then it didn't work out, but then the next thing is this big thing, but I learned this huge lesson from this. And so I considered that. And I was, I mean, it hurt, but I was like at peace with that, accepting it. And then even now, I think I know that I know enough of what needs to be done and how to do things. And so it's just a matter of, like, when I pray, I just say, continue to guide me in the right direction and I'll continue to show up. So what I have control of is I can keep showing up every single day. What I don't have control of is, all of what the future holds. I don't know what next month or next year or the following year looks like, but I know that I can forecast. And
based off of what your experiences from the past that might have not served you the best, right?
True. True. I do want to get some coaching gems in there.
Yeah.
So
what do you got?
Let's say step one maybe would be helping somebody getting over the imposter syndrome. So what would you tell that person that they have skills, they know how to do something, they've gotten through it, but maybe they don't know if they were lucky or if they had a system for it or if they really have it narrowed down to like what were the steps that they actually did or how they would teach it to the next person.
Imposter syndrome, you're probably going to always have it, right? Or I don't want to say you're not special, right? That's a little cutthroat at it. Like we all have that imposter syndrome. But what comes to mind if you've been through something, you're looking to coach, like hone in and find out what that niche is. Like somebody used an example, and it's ironic because I have the root canal that I just had done yesterday, and now I know how bad they are. And somebody gave the analogy of going to get the root canal or a tooth pulled, and they go into the dentist, and he's like, it's going to be $3,000. They're like, all you're doing is pulling that freaking tooth out. It's going to be $3,000. He's like, yep. Like, okay, well, I don't have that. And he's like, or I can do it over the course of 3 days, and it's going to be the same amount of money. And they're like, just get rid of it now. And so like that helped me understand niching down on an offer of that. Like sometimes if we have a painful problem, it costs money, not sometimes, but it does. And your skill and talent and stuff costs money. There is a market, but not a market that said you're going to make, $23 an hour or whatever. So what I'm sharing is in order to establish value, you have to actually value yourself. If you're not, doing self-work or, anything like that, and you're trying to help other people, it's going to come off as inauthentic and just crash. So find 3 friends. You can put something out on a social media, like on your story, and just say, hey, I'm doing what could you call it? A small case study with dudes looking to drop 2% body fat. If you're interested in it, and just give it away. Like before actually having people pay you, like how much have you given away? Unless somebody's desperate, needs money now and needs to make a course and deliver that, like give your product away. And then get these dudes, get them all. If you're in the fitness industry, show that you can get them down to that 2-3% body fat, and then show the world their testimonial. And that's how it spreads quick. Like either this guy sucks, and sometimes bad reviews. I've had a lot of people give me some crappy stuff, almost lost an old business because of it. And guess what? Everything skyrocketed after it. So sometimes you help the right person, you're not going to be able to help everybody. But the more you do that internal work, and then you just get out there and start helping people and broadcasting it. And then, maybe even take an impromptu class, read books on selling. 92 Ways to Talk to People is really good. The 4 Agreements. Those are all nuggets that you can jump into and start to do as you develop yourself while helping other people. And sometimes developing yourself includes helping other people. Yeah. You got to be around and give it away to get back.
I think there's a power also in exposure. Like, okay, there's a guy that I follow, and he says there's a guy named Myron Golden, and Myron Golden is his business coach, and it's $55,000 a year. And he was like, to a lot of people, that sounds crazy. And he was like, but when I hired him as my coach, and it was a big deal financially, he made like $1.5 million I don't know, the next 24 months after hiring him as his coach. So it exposed him to, there are people making money like this, and that this is their offer, and seeing the ins and outs of it. I've learned that is one of my superpowers. Is if something needs to be solved, it's like literally just push me in and expose me to it, and I can like reverse engineer and be like, oh, this is how it works, and this is how it's done. So I do see. I've only ever paid for like one-off calls, like in the coaching world. I've never paid for somebody's coaching program. So I think that's also why, when it comes to like me having a coaching program or structuring a coaching program, I'd kind of, because I've only ever, like I paid somebody, I think the most I've ever paid is $800 for a 1-hour call. And it was with a YouTube expert. He like helps Mr. Beast. Yeah. And I think his coaching program was like $6,000, and it was 4 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that. And it was a group thing, teaching people how to do like from scratch. And I'm thinking, I've been on YouTube forever. I have a set of specific questions. And then they were like, oh, you could just get a one-on-one with him. And I'm like, yeah, I want that. Yeah. But
what type of return did you get on that? Did you get like from that $800? Did you think it had value? What feedback would you give that guy?
So this is also why I have some, I guess, bad past things, because no, it sucked, to be honest with you. I had a set of specific questions to me, and he was just sharing ideas with me. And I'm like, bro, if you listen to what I'm saying, I have too many ideas already, stuff that I'm actually doing, and you just gave me another idea of something I'm not even interested in doing. So I was asking about, like, here's my life. I own a studio. I travel. I shoot music. This was at the time. I do studio sessions. I make beats. This is my life currently. What's the best way to structure this on a YouTube channel? Because technically some people that watch my music video content are music video guys, but they don't care about the beat stuff. And some of the people that watch the beat stuff are producers, but they don't care about the video stuff or the rapper stuff. And then some of the rappers that watch my stuff, they don't care about the beat stuff or the video stuff because they're just rappers. So should I have 3 separate channels for 3 separate people, but I'm one person and blah, blah, blah. And I said, plus I want to start a podcast. I do vlogs. I get amped up and feel motivated and inspired, and I want to share that too. Like, what's the best way to package and organize this on YouTube? And he was like, oh, it'd be a really good idea. So, like, you know how when you make a beat and you just do one sound at a time, oh, this would crush it on TikTok. You show you doing the piano part, and then it goes to the next part, and then it's like the beat builds. And I'm like, okay. So back to my questions that I paid for your help.
You wanted an outcome.
Yeah.
You paid him, he gave you an idea. And that's the thing with coaching too. Like, you could pay me, I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas, but I mean, it's like opinions, right? You give somebody an outcome, and that helps hone it in a little bit more. And that's, I mean, and we do. I wish I had there's probably a coaching program for vetting coaches. Like, anybody can say, but we all have to start somewhere, right? So I think one of the biggest things that helps people get through that is look at success stories from other people. Holy cow, this coach helped me get through XYZ. And until I got in rooms with other coaches and experienced stuff, I didn't even know some of these platforms existed. And they linked me up with their guys and these investments. Like, our first coach that I hired, I think, was $12,000. And like, that seems insane for something I can learn on YouTube. And then I started going through the modules, and it was a great program. And it took all my ideas and everything I had and put it together. And the second sale that we had was a $90,000 contract that just paid off for itself, right? And then I learned stuff in that contract, like what breach of contract was and other things that happened and the nuances of it. And then it showed me, maybe I don't want to go this direction. I like focusing on one-on-one coaching most. And then, like group coaching or core offers as well, and what works. So a lot of it is, finding somebody that's been there. Again, somebody who's been through the trenches. Do they have what? And we talk about this in sobriety a lot. There's a lot of people who are sober, or a lot of people that don't drink, but they're not emotionally sober. Right. And the same thing in there's a lot of people that coach, but they're not going to give you, they're going to give you ideas. Anybody can give you ideas. And just like anybody telling you how to spend your money, it's easy to tell you how to spend your money because it's not their money.
Yeah.
Right. So when you get somebody that's really authentic, really connects to you, and then is selling you an outcome, there's a lot of value there.
Hearing that got my brain going on, like, the importance of creating an F-load of content on social media to show people, here's who I am. This is how I, like, stuff you post, stuff I post. People get to meet you, know you, see a lot about you before, like, working with you. And I think that's extremely important for any coach.
But dude, if we're an adult cohort, it's 2026?
Yeah. And
we've had, in the last 20 some years, there's been 9/11, which was a big, like, trauma thing. I really downplayed that. A big traumatic event. And then COVID, and now AI. Like, where am I getting with all this? Is it took the connection and just parted it. So I know guys now that'll have AI automations, and we just set up one, or we're building one for our page, and they'll one off the way they spell something so it doesn't look like AI. So, because people they want connection. And the amount of times, like, if somebody follows me, I'll be like, hey, Joe, welcome to the page. It's good to have you. What are you here for? Are you here for blah, 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 or whatever? And they're like, dude, I didn't expect this. Connection, yeah. Right? People long for that connection, because COVID, we didn't have connection. And then it made a sphere of connecting. And then AI, it's like, are the bots going to coach me? They can, AI can give me a lot of good ideas, but AI hasn't been through the shit I've been through or you've been through.
True.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's just a program. And so I'm going back to that connection piece. It's really important.
Shit. Now I'm even more prioritizing coaching because, like, when I was giving you a tour, I was saying my goal is, after these departments are built, like, focusing on one monthly workshop in person. What I believe, especially with AI, especially after everything you just said, is like access is what everyone is going to want. As in, like, where before information was the priority. And so, you know, you put like, oh, I have this course, and put it behind a paywall and stuff like that. But now ChatGPT, technically someone could be how to do blah, 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 create a course that I can follow step by step and tell me what to do every day for the next 7 days.
Yeah.
Boom. You got your thing.
Yeah.
Right. But like you said, AI it's not a human that can relate to you and that has been there and walked that and has a community, like how you have a community of other people like them to bond with and whatnot. So yeah, I definitely think the future, like, now would be the perfect time to start a coaching business, as long as you're qualified to coach, you know?
I think it's going to be one of the most lucrative, like, there's different, I forgot what they call when you get on the, like KFC wouldn't work now, right? If KFC went into business with all the gluten and fat and trans fats and all those different things, it's just like it served its purpose at its time, because there was such a demand and need for it when women they were starting to get in the workforce more and they wanted home cooked meals at home. I think the same thing is going to happen with coaching, is because the thing that AI can create to look like, but it won't make, is a brand. And a brand and identity are kind of the same, right? But it's different. And so AI, like, that brand that if you bring, that's what people buy. So I'm trying to think of a good brand example, but coaches from years before, like, I want to train under that guy because he is this. Like, when I came in here and the first thing I heard about Crack Studios, I like Fat Joe Crack House. That's what comes to my mind and plays in my mind. I uploaded on my story and that's what was playing. And that's just, I was associating it to that. And like, you have a very powerful brand, and that's the thing. Like, you create a brand and you bring people in that. Like, CrossFit got really big when Greg Glassman, he shared that they come for the fitness and they stay for the community. Like, that is just the hook. Like, there's AI, there's all these things, but if you have a hook to draw people in, they come for the podcast, they stay for the community. Like, community and branding are the biggest things that'll set somebody apart. And that's why people fail as coaches. Like, man, you can help solve my problem, but you're a piece of shit and I won't work with you, right? Whoa, you have a great community and you have a great brand, and I feel alive every time you're selling an outcome, and I'm buying how you make me feel. You make me feel really good. You make me feel alive. It's relationship. It's connection. All this is relationship and connection.
Gems you just dropped. My friend, he has a background in coaching, and he gave me some advice the other day that was valid, because I think I was aiming for like a perfect track record when it came to coaching, as in, like, all I want to do is win. So I want to be successful and I want to achieve things. And if somebody hires me to coach them, if I can't, like, damn near guarantee that they're going to win, then it makes me feel like I'm not a good coach. And he was like, bro, I remember he did this. He was like, I'll sleep just like this every single night, knowing that I did. He was like, that's not your part. And so he was like, okay, how many times have you told people what you think that they should do on social media? And I was like, hundreds of times. And he was like, and how many of them listen to? And I said, none. Most of them maybe for a few days or a week or whatever. And he was like, did you follow up with them and talk to them a week later or 2 weeks later? Or did you hold them accountable at all? And I was like, no. And he's like, that's all coaching is. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It's instead of just how I do it before, is like, bro, okay, you're a videographer, and right now you're trying to quit your job, and your job is $700 a week, and right now you're charging $300 for a video thing, and you're getting, and like telling them, here's the plan, and they're like excited, okay, yeah, but I appreciate it, right? And so here's the play. I'm giving you a play to run. What my friend taught me is like, are instilled in my brain. They still have to go run the play. That's not your job.
Yeah.
Your job, you can point, give them direction, but they still have to do all of the work. And then he kept tying it into like working out. And he was like, do you think that like every personal trainer, every single person that's ever hired them for weight loss, like is jacked and walks around jacked year round? Like, no, there's a bunch of people that like didn't do the workouts, didn't stick to the diet. Like that's not the coach's fault. I was like, damn.
Yeah. It's helped because before, I think a little while ago, you were talking about sharing your knowledge base and wanting like to overshare and tell people everything. That's the cool thing about creating, like I use Loom sometimes to create our like learning management stuff.
Yeah.
Like you just pop it up there. And like some of the best coaches that I've worked with, I'm like, yeah, I just paid this and I'm jumping on a call with them. All right, it's been 20 minutes. They hop off the call and I'm like, what the heck? I just paid you this much money. But they have all their stuff on the computer, right? And so that's how they can help more people. And then you can pay more and have more access to them. And on the contrary, I would get exhausted. Like if I sit on a call with somebody for an hour, hour and a half, and I'm coaching them, and a lot of people are just assholes, right? They're just asking questions and they're not doing anything with it, right? Like
That's the funniest term.
how do I do this? It's like, I showed you how. Now go do it. And so that's been really helpful too, is time management, because we're only as good as because it does. Coaching takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of energy. It's like we talked about being an artist. It exposed a lot of your pain points and saying, hey, like if I'm working with people on vulnerability and relationship and stuff like that, I bring a lot of my stuff up, you know, and you got to be able to protect that. And some is not hopping on call to call to call to call, creating systems to do it. And that's just smart. So it gives you longevity because people are buying you. There's not like 10 of you in here, right?
Yeah.
If there was, it'd be ideal, but there's not.
Yeah.
And so we got to protect the asset.
Yeah, man. Because that ties into, I mean, I'm very strict with my schedule and like time management. And I'm aware of like the number one priority right now is like currently this month is get this podcast department off the ground. And so like not answering calls or like my phone is pretty much on do not disturb 24/7. I'm like locked in, just literally, if you could create a player, but like create an entrepreneur, that's what I want to be, as close to that ideal entrepreneur as possible, as in like focused, locked in. But what I'm realizing is things that I would maybe normally do for free, or like even having meetings or talking to other business owners that would normally want to ask questions and stuff, where I've been like avoiding sending them a link to like pay for a call and just like wanting to be cool and like meet in person and then talk about it, then figure out a thing and then maybe present the business thing after that. And even there's a time where I was questioning like what my worth was on like what to charge for an hour or this or a program and stuff like that. Me and my wife were driving the other day and I just kind of pointing out how little available time that I do have. And she was like, now do you see that you're worth this? And I'm like, absolutely. So that makes me even more bullish on like the most valuable thing that you can offer anyone is access to you. And so like, to make it even more valuable, you would just give them more access to you. And if they can't afford all of that, then you would be like, well, I can just give you this much access to me.
And you'll hear it in this space in working, coaching. They're like, man, well, if you're that good of a guy, why wouldn't you just help people for free? Like, what? Like, how do you answer that question? I've heard that a lot. The reality is there's times like if it was $5 to come in this studio, you would, people would be lining outside the door right now, but they'd be pissing on your walls, graffiti, like it would be nasty in here, right? You hone it in, you'll get a lot of people and you'll funnel. But the reality is you set that price right, you'll get the people that, aren't hawing around and, kicking tires and I'll get back to you, and they become better clients. And if you want outcomes, so you charge a $15,000 package, and then you have the guy that said, okay, links paid for, ready to go. And they just pay for it without hesitation. they're going to be your best advertisement because they're getting a better outcome because they put value on it because they just paid you 15 grand. They're going to show up, they're going to listen, and they're going to execute. Opposed to the person that spends $500, it's like, yeah, whatever, it was $500, but I'm going to give them a bad review. And those dudes have more time to talk shit.
Yeah.
The guys that are going to spend the money have decided they're going to spend that money. The funnel might get tighter and tighter, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to spend that. That's why high ticket. That's why you have the other offers in between, like a subscription model and then the free offer. But you have that, and it just gives people like, here, you have access to me, but it's not me. I'm in the hot tub with my wife.
Yeah.
Right? We're making dinner like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then the time that, hey, I'm meeting with them because they're paying me 15 G's to meet with them. And, you know, and you can control that. That's what's cool.
Myron Golden, he says, people that pay attention.
Yeah.
People that pay the most attention.
Yeah.
People that don't pay attention.
That's gold.
When he said it like that, in my head, when you were like, what do you say when someone's like, why wouldn't you help anyone for free? It's like, actually, you're doing them a favor by charging them, because it's like, yo, if this was a free video on YouTube, you're going to watch it kind of passively, probably also be scrolling on Instagram, and then also maybe have your TV on and also like be messing with your kids or something. But if you pay $15,000 for this, kids, I need my privacy. Daddy's locked in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it changes the game for everybody, especially if you're trying to get outcomes for them and for you, for your business. Because, I mean, that's the goal of the business, right? To make more money now and in the future while impacting people.
Can it be an outcome that's like, because I'm trying to think of what my outcome would be. I mean, I think anyone that comes to me, they're looking for more of like, it's just in the area of brand growth, business growth, which could be like make more money, bigger brand, bigger followers, bigger brand, bigger bag. Obviously I can't guarantee that, but I think that, would that be a good enough outcome? Or, because I seen a video yesterday and it was like, the outcome has to be measurable. So I'm like, okay, measuring it would be, you know, I have spreadsheets where at the beginning of every month people can insert their like impressions for the month before to see the numbers going up.
Who's your ideal client? As far as like, are you talking about people in the studio, or are you doing like videos for like companies, or would it be coaching somebody to do like a certain somebody to do something?
I think the best person for me to coach would be the younger version of me. So it'd be like young, ambitious, creative entrepreneur, but just earlier on the journey. They may be, you know, I don't know about just getting by, but like, that's who I think I could coach the best. I guess the other people I offer services. That's where like the studio comes in with the coaching, is more of, I guess when it comes to content, the options would be at the highest end would be, here, I'll just come up with your ideas, film your content, edit your content. We'll run it all for you. Like, you don't have to do anything.
That's your product. If you're selling like commercial or something like that, you're talking about somebody that can come and maybe like create, like you want to, somebody's online and they're like, I want a side hustle, but I need to increase my brand, because if I know I increase my brand, then my product looks more legit. So you're teaching people how to maybe increase their brand to convert into money. Something like that.
Yeah, I would, because of the people that have done coaching, it's like, I guess with my background being in the music industry, it's mostly like music artists, music producers, videographers, photographers, clothing brands, some like random entrepreneurs, models, even like actors have done calls. But like the overall theme that they all wanted help with was, I need more visibility, I need more awareness, I need more followers. Give me some content strategy or content.
What was their goal with that? With followers? Did they say, was it like, because there's people that just like followers because they like attention, it makes them feel good.
I think it's make more money, because they know if it's a music artist, he knows if I have more followers, more people listen to my music, I make more money.
I would focus on that conversion of creating, somehow link their brand statement with an increase in revenue. So people with this level of brand are more likely to make 30% more revenue, and then maybe have a portion in there of coaching them of how to convert that, like converting your brand into revenue.
Yeah.
That's just off the top of my head because what outcome is you're teaching them how to make more money. And all the little business stuff, there are things that you can throw in there. We can talk offline about like to do that. But if they're coming up with like their brand and you're introducing that strategy to them and then showing them how to execute, most likely they already have a way to make money.
Yeah.
You want them to see that they're going to make more money by visibility, and you're going to create the clear vision and visibility.
I got it. Okay.
Right. So I think that we go back to the glasses and the vision and stuff like that, like visibility and storytelling and converting, teaching them or getting them to make revenue from the brand and what they're throwing out there.
See, I used to, up until right now, have a bad history of focusing on the features versus the benefits. Because features would be more followers, more engagement, more likes. The benefits is you're making more money doing the thing you love. That's the benefits. I'm getting better at practicing that, because my ideal person right now is somebody that's already winning. They already have the thing built and they literally just need more attention, more eyeballs, more traffic to the funnel. And it's like, okay, you're my perfect person. I can call a play based on where you're at. Versus who's not my ideal person is, I guess, like the starving artist that doesn't even have a thing. They don't have a way of making money, and they're still in the beginning phases of like, I can't really help you more. And I think of all these years in the music industry, and I had never like managed the business side of an artist ever, because it never made sense. Like they didn't have enough things going on to manage. And then I only did one time, but it was with an artist that had already made millions of dollars from his music career. And I asked a bunch of qualifying questions first to see if I could even help. I'm like, okay, well, if I helped you, I would do, are you doing this? And I was like, no. And I'm like, okay, that'd probably be an extra $100,000 a year. Are you doing this? No. And I'm like, okay, that's a huge opportunity. What about this? Like I asked him 5-6 questions. It was like, nope. And I'm like, bro, I could really, really help you. Okay. Yeah, I'll manage you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, I guess, helping winners win more versus trying to take someone from like, God bless them, but like the beginner loser phase.
Sure.
To try to take someone from a loser to a winner is a long journey. But to take someone that's already winning and help them win more.
They probably have more purchasing power. And there's something like a hook or something you could share that I think a lot of people might not see, but it's a reality, is that followers don't equal, or likes don't equal, money in the bank. And I think would capture a lot of your clients, like, oh, I have this many followers, but I'm not converting. And you're teaching them how to do that. Yeah. Right. And there's resources and stuff I can share with you or link you up with that can show how to do that too. So if you're taking their strategy, their story, and then showing them how to convert that, because they already have that platform, you're just taking them to the next level, it sounds like. Yeah.
So that would be my coaching offer.
Yeah.
And then I would have to then just write out like, how many weeks would I realistically have to work with somebody to help them with this, which would probably be just experiment.
Yeah, like your minimum viable offer.
Yeah.
You could do a crash course, not a crash course, but you could do like, that industry. So if you're like, man, I could get somebody there in 9 weeks. And what I mean by 9 weeks is 1 hour, 9 times. So 9 hours. And I do that once each week. Or if you have 10 people that come through, right? You just, like we talked about, you put them in a cohort and we're all meeting at this time, Monday nights at 6 p.m. And then you just record that Zoom call. And then if they can make it, they can make it. My guess, if they're paying you money, they're going to make it. But if they can't, you can put it on your platform, like on Thursday mornings that they have access to, and they can watch it, and then they get it. And then you just did your due diligence for that. And then they can ask questions and stuff in whatever chat room you have.
If you were to reflect, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned when it comes to coaching? And or some mistakes that you may have made?
Yeah, feeling desperate.
Okay.
Feeling desperate. And this comes to, excuse me, having, I go back to what I said at the beginning, working on myself. The more I work on myself, the better coach I become. The more I accept stuff I've been through, the better coach I become, because I can share that experience, strength, and hope with other people.
Yeah.
And so another mistake that's coming to my mind is if you find a coach, like there's this coach that I'm working with right now, and I really like him and his program. And I found him about a year ago. And, we were talking back and forth. And so what I'm trying to say is he had everything I needed to take me to the next level. Then I was like, no, I'll figure it out. No, I'm going to work with this person. We're going to figure it out. And it just was spiral. I've done that twice instead of just committing to it. Like shit or get off the pot, right? This is their offer. This is just commit to it. So a lack of commitment was a lack of commitment to myself and what I believed in myself, essentially. And just going, oh, I'll wait. And it cost me a lot more money because I was paying people that didn't know what they were doing. I was getting frustrated with it. There were systems that when I hired this guy, he's like, yeah, dude, we cover all that. I'm like, all right. So the $9,000 that I lost could have went towards this, and we could have been, but part of acceptance was that's not how it unfolded, but I learned the lesson.
Yeah. What about some key takeaways, kind of summarizing everything you've learned from coaching to maybe just a tip here, like as long as you focus on, I would say being a good listener, it seemed like is one of them, and asking the right questions, caring about them. Yeah, you take it.
Yeah, just because I think the big one is just because you're a good coach doesn't mean you're a good coach at home. You don't need to coach your kids. You don't need to coach your spouse. They're going to look at you and hear stuff completely different. Okay. And man, because there's so many times she's going like this. Like, did you hear that one?
Yeah.
But it's true. You might, and I could say stuff to my spouse, or she could say something to me, and it could be on point. I'm not going to listen to it. Just because it needs to come from somebody different, a different coach. And then that coach says that, I'm like, yeah. And the wife's like, yeah, I told you that, right?
Yeah.
It's just different. So that, doing that at home. Another thing is good coaching. Like if you're a very religious person and you're coaching somebody, there's something called spiritual bypass, where you just coach them on like, oh, you're going through that, just pray it away. These will go away if you just put it in God's hand, and really dismissing what's going through. So I've learned to, not that I'm that very religious person, I'm just sharing that spiritual bypass is something that can really screw somebody up.
Okay.
And then learning to listen and listening to learn is a big component of it. And also being open that you might not have the answer, but you can find out the answer. And sometimes they might coach you. There's been times where I go into coaching sessions and I'll tell them, like, I feel like I should have paid you. This really helped me. Thank you. That builds confidence in them too, to show them that they have worth. And that's not why I do it. But if you're honest with somebody, that's really what happens during a transaction, right?
Yeah.
A relation transaction. So I think those are the top things with coaching. There's different types of coaches. There's the hype coach, there's the asshole. And some people like that, like those different styles and things like that. But I do believe in positive reinforcement and not bullshitting somebody like it's all, sunshine and rainbows, but just sticking to the coaching program that I believe in, delivering it, being authentic and open. And that might be one of my coaching faults, is that maybe I overshare. I don't hold anything back. There's nothing that I'll hold back to when I'm helping somebody or guiding them through it, and just start to self-reflect and see what works and see what doesn't. So there's really no cookie cutter approach, but let your market and your people give you feedback. That's part of why I was sharing earlier. You go back and you give some of this stuff away.
Yeah.
And then you get feedback from them. Your friends are raving about you. This is the best studio around. He's the best coach around. Or saying, hey, you were good, but man, you didn't seem very confident. Okay, that's where I need to work on.
Yeah.
Hey, you were good, but you drifted about after 30 minutes, you got distracted. You broke eye contact a lot. You were looking at your phone. Like, be able to take feedback And you know, if one person's saying it, okay, but if everybody's saying it, and have the humility to maybe adjust and do something about it.
So just continue to grow.
Grow. Yeah, it's growth. Work on yourself. Yeah, everything else seems to work.
I posted on my story the other night, when the business owner stops growing, so does the business.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I was reflecting on certain, you know, I just know a lot of business owners around here, and there's a lot of business owners that I know that have been in business for a long time, and their business has just basically been plateaued for 15 years or 10 years or 5 years or something. And they do not evolve. It's just like they're running the same play that worked 13 years ago that doesn't work anymore, but they're not questioning it, and they're living in fear, and they're too afraid to try something new. And
churches, you see that a lot in churches too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Where it's like, hey, let's try a different playbook, let's try something, and then it goes so off in left field, or people like are, you know, just become stagnant. And this is where, you know, whether it's churches, like use the live, work, and play, right? Your communities, your work, in what we're giving back. And I think those communities are important. Is that pride and ego gets in the way so much. Like any of those businesses you're talking about, if they maybe just went and got some outside help, what might happen? Right? In relationships, maybe if you just got outside help, what could happen? If you maybe just got a business coach, what could happen?
I think it's that ego and that false mindset of, I don't need help. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I don't need, but they're not. I seen a video of Twista, the rapper Twista that raps fast as hell, and he was on the Breakfast Club interview, and he said, when you see, because it was like people were trying to downplay Drake for rumors that he didn't write all of his music, and this person wrote one of his hit songs, and this person, and so he's not a good artist. And Twista was like, no, when you see a great artist also seek songwriters, you should worry, because that just shows that they're aware of that. They know they're good, but they know that other people are even better, and all they care about is putting out the best product.
Yeah.
So it's not a negative thing. But yeah, so many people have that belief of asking for help is bad or a sign of weakness. Even people that I've hired where things didn't work out, I remember having talks multiple times with like, hey man, one thing I noticed is you don't ever ask for help, and you also don't ask for instructions. And I don't know if you do it out of like you want to seem confident, but if you pay any attention to like how I am with my clients, I ask a million questions because I care about doing a good job, and I want to make sure I'm on the same page as them. So I'll ask all these questions, but I seen somewhere else too that it was like you demonstrate your level of intelligence by the quality of questions that you ask. Yeah. So I ask a lot of questions, and I'm not afraid to ask a dumb question. Sure. But a lot of times when I ask certain people questions, they're like, oh, that's a really good question. I've never thought of that before. But yeah, I'm aware that getting help is the cheat code. Like I was saying earlier, in a perfect world, I'm married, we would have, a happy married for 50-year couple, and we'd pay them to coach us on having a good marriage. Yeah. We got a daughter. In a perfect world, I'd have some father out there that's like raised a bunch of different kids, and he's just a great father, and I pay him to coach me on being a better father. I'm making content on social media. I find somebody that's like a guru further ahead on social media, and I'd pay them to coach me on my social media. So like, win my budget, like that's my game plan, is to get a coach in damn near every area of my life and be optimized.
I was meditating on that just the other day about those different areas, and that's what I'm trying to do in each area of life, because it frees up yourself to have more creative expression and stuff as well. And maybe I got this note or hints of this while sharing, is that whether it's business coaching or whatever, a majority of the stuff is trauma based. So when you talk about these groups that won't evolve and change, or not groups, but businesses and asking questions and things like that, there are, like, when we take people back to the crime scene, there are trauma responses. And one of them is look good as to not look bad. So if you're always doing these things to look good, you won't look bad, therefore XYZ. right? So these companies or these different places that won't grow or people who won't ask questions, you risk what? Vulnerability and looking bad.
Pride,
I'm going to look
ego,
so stupid.
Yeah.
What if we talk about money right now? What if they know I'm in the red? What if they know I'm in the black? What if we talk about this right now? What is that going to mean? You know, like, and people hate to look, they hate pain and they hate to look bad. And, you know, that's part of coaching and success too, is you gotta look bad before you look good. You still got to keep looking bad.
Yeah, what sucks is a friend of mine commented on a video that I posted yesterday, being like, that's me. But I was saying a lot of people struggle with confidence because they've never pushed themselves to see that or realize that they have this like second gear or third gear that they didn't even know existed because they've never pushed themselves.
Yeah.
And I said, then also a lot of them are so afraid of losing that they don't even try. But what they're not comprehending is they're losing by default because they're not even trying. So it's like they'll never win. But yeah, my friend, he commented, that's me. I'm like,
we call it the flutter. Like, I can't remember the dude's name that broke the sound barrier. I think we talked about that.
See, that was another thing that you exposed me to on that call. And I'm like, man, and I've ran with that.
Yeah.
I talked to a friend today on the phone and I said that because he was talking about, you know, I'm posting multiple times a day. And it's like, and I told him, just keep checking that box. Keep checking that box. It's only a matter of time before one breaks through. And I brought up you said flutter?
Yeah, the flutter. It's like, you know, I wish I had his name right now. And, you know, trying to break the sound barrier in the jet, and most people would back off because it felt like the jet was or the airplane was going to blow up or fall apart, right? So fear. This dude just full send. And once he broke that barrier, it was smooth sailing. It just, but nobody would have discovered it if it wasn't for him pushing through that.
Yeah.
And that's how it is in all our things. Like if you're in social media, and you probably see it all the time in your business, like part of it is being cringy. Right now, like with the algorithms, the volume beats everything.
Yeah.
So just throwing stuff out there, like, you know, I have this toothache, it's messing up my sinuses, my hair was all off this morning. I'm like, that's who I am. You know, there's these studies and selling techniques, or when you first meet somebody and somebody comes in and like, oh, this is a pretty esteemed person, or you have a story around them. Sometimes those people will actually stutter or mix up a sentence by purpose to get you to like them more, because it's shown that first impressions, when somebody does something like that, they're more attracted to you because they trust you, because they see you more as a human. So if you come in and you're like, hey, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, that's it, Craig.
They're like, oh, I forget what I say all the time too.
So we can't roll around and use that as an excuse, right? Like, but those are things like, it shows that you're a human being. And going back to that coaching question, is that's what being a good coach is too, helping people get past that flutter. Because they will. They're like, I don't know if I'm going to post this. I don't know if I'm going to spend this much money on this person. I don't know if I can. And then, you know, full send and see what comes from it. Because you'll never know. Unless, you know, turn this off. Maybe you did a while ago and just live a mediocre life. So be it. A lot of people like that. They like to sit in their same community, their same story, their same, because it's safe. I don't like playing it safe.
No,
I like growing.
When I imagine hell, that you just described it. No.
Yeah.
How do you use social media to grow your business? What is your high level strategy?
Most my conversion and sales have been like in person, or people at the gym, or local businesses or cities that have heard, and then just talking to them, and they know me, or we've built relationships over time. That doesn't answer the question about social media. I'm working on a whole system for social media, but right now my goal, because I'm like, what strategy? It came back to, oh shoot, I don't know who I am. And now I'm just posting, not scripted, when an idea pops up in my mind, when I'm not at my best. And if I'm critiquing something more, I'm like, oh, I look a little off. I just woke up. I'm on my way to the gym. I look better at this time of day. I just post it and I'm watching it and seeing what engagements and, you know, before running ads. And then my conversion is I want people to come there and see and be able to go through the storyboard and see who this guy is. And then I give an offer out. So my offer is a 21-day get back up challenge. Somebody comes, they have a free offer. It helps with mindset, confidence, introduces them to some books, gets them in our community, teaches them warrior meditation, and it's all a free offer. That should be our best offer, is our free offer.
Okay.
Shows that we worked on it and gave it away. And then from there, people get subscribed to the email list. They can join the Waypoint, which is like a gym for your brain. Same concept of a gym. There's different rooms to go in, like the executive sauna, which is like business coaching, or the heroes locker room, which is set for veterans and first responders. They can go in and get content. And then the ultimate is the Get Back Up program, or one-on-one coaching with me, which is the Get Back Up program. And there is the coaching where somebody can do, you know, monthly coaching, 6-month, year, indefinite, etc.
Okay.
And so right now it's just building rapport with people, and you know, you get eyes on it. It's amazing. What, like, I've like this little camera right here. I almost envision like the Instagram logo, and that's where I do everything. My assistant set up TikTok, and she's building that out right now, but I don't know how to use TikTok. Yeah. It's more of a thirst trap than anything, I think. But anyways. And I heard Snapchat. Somebody was talking about Snapchat the other day and converting. Yeah. Dude, I'm on this sales call. It was the funniest thing. The guy's talking, this guy asks, he's like, yeah, so I have Snapchat. How do I convert and make sales on Snapchat? And he goes, you don't. You're a grown fucking man. Delete it. And I was like, okay, that's funny. But I picture like you're going in, it's like a mall. Like when we were, you know, in high school, you'd go in and you'd have a kiosk and you'd go, you know, into this store and this store, and you're selling these different things. But what I sell to people is like when you get lost and you have to figure out where you are.
Yeah.
You know, especially men between ages 38 and 45, we're all asking the question, like, where am I?
Yeah.
And then I help guide them, you know, in a better direction.
Gotcha. I like that you have like a whole ecosystem to where it's not just one thing. It's like, you know, like how you were talking about the business side. Like, to me, that would be attractive to me on like business coaching, right? I know I have to have trauma and different other things like that, but I'm sure that would be unpacked along the way with business coaching. But
affiliates too, like if you know you could sell more with, let's say we talked about ACEs scores, and you know that a majority of your high-paying clients have been impacted by trauma, you find another good coach that you can bookend and have them go through their trauma coaching before and add it part of your package, and then just make offers. That's what I do with, you know, some of the coaches, and they have their content in, and we like split 80-20 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But you can do that too. And that way you can grow your brand and not have to do it all. And I think that's super wise to do at times.
Yeah.
But the different ecosystems, I think the people that had the most impact have been watching my stuff for a while. You know, I haven't, I've had some recent where people come in, we're working together for a little while, but it's like I coach somebody, they refer their family, they refer this person at their work, and then it builds trust. And those small lead magnet offers are what's going to build trust with people. Like, oh, we give it away. We have trust. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. I'm ready to commit.
Do your parents understand what you do?
I think so. They're supportive.
That's good.
Yeah. I say I think so. Like we talk. Yeah, my parents have helped a lot with like my dad and I were in business at the gym before.
Oh, okay.
And then
how was that?
The gym business, or being
father-son in business together dynamic?
Dude, I don't even know how life was then, honestly.
Gotcha.
Like, it was, looking back, like if I'm looking in the rearview mirror, not getting stuck too much, it was dynamics of, you know, he knew business, I knew gyms, but I knew working out, but I didn't know business. And he was off site doing his business stuff at his, you know, bread and butter business.
What's his bread and butter business?
And so he is an engineer by trade. And he does a lot of things with airflow sensors and things with HVAC. And if he was listening, I'd tell him really nerdy stuff.
Okay.
But with airflow, really, really smart guy. And so I was going through all my, my valleys or my winter, if you will, while we had that gym. And so there just was so much that I didn't, understand. Now looking back at it, I actually just got a client now that I'm helping him build his whole marketing and ecosystem, mindset coaching, training his teams, building the system in a gym. And it's pretty cool because I'm like, this is exactly what I would have done.
Gotcha.
Which is successful.
Yeah.
And what was the OG question? I kind of lost my train of thought there.
The dynamic with father and son doing business together.
Yeah, and then they know I coach people. My dad consulted for a while, and I've learned a lot of some of the principles that we do with theory of constraint and other things. In there is concepts that he shared and taught me and courses that he had, and then my father-in-law has helped me a lot in understanding business and mentoring and things like that. So I'm surrounded by people who are supportive, and I'm thankful for it. My spouse and because I get imposter syndrome. I was like, dude, I drove by the South Precinct over here, and I could feel my vest and. Driving down, I'm like, dude, I've seen some shit around here, and in that back alley and all these places. And can remember 3400 South Cedar, right? That's the address right there. And I'm like, dude, now you're doing this, but it's experience.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't believe it. And when I don't believe in it, and when I don't believe in myself, or I think I should be doing what this person is doing in sales, or this person's doing in accounting, or what a real person's job looks like that makes sense. What do you do? And I think that's a big thing for coaches. And what do you do? It's not just coach. You share with somebody the transformation that you help with. What do you do? I help young men build confidence in their relationships. It's you're always selling yourself, right?
Where can someone go to sign up for the 21-day challenge?
It's my Instagram, FR33 Mindset. That's where I have everything on right there. If you just DM Unstuck, mention you had this, or follow, I'll reach out to you.
Yeah.
Love to get you in the challenge. It's something we didn't just throw a 21-day challenge together just to do it, but these are meditative practices that I do all the time. I love them. I have a ton of different guys. There's different folks that I could share who are doing it, that it really calms their mind down. But that's the biggest takeaway in that 21-day challenge is that meditation, along with some of the challenges in reading. So it's kind of most of us have heard of the 75 hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that for your mind.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. See, I'm going to do it eventually. It's when it's the priority. I have a commit to 100 where I've always thrown out the number 100 just because whether it's someone wants to do Instagram, it's I'd focus on getting your first 100 out there. Oh, if I was a music artist, I'd be focused on getting my first 100 songs. If I was doing YouTube, get my first 100 videos. So I've always thrown out 100, 100, 100, 100. And so, then I landed on, I have this concept, this idea of a 100-day content challenge, posting a piece of content every day for 100 days straight. And then it gives you different examples that you could choose from each day. And that being my thing. But I want it all to be every part of, how 75 hard, it's one workout indoor, one workout outdoor, right? So that's one of the things you have to do. What I want is each thing you have to do is scientifically proven to help you reach your goals. So it'd be one of the things you have to do is when you join, you have to post and announce that you're doing the Commit to 100 challenge. The reason being is because when you do public commitment and consistency, it increases your odds of achieving your goals by 17% or whatever the percentage is. The next thing is I do want mine to be paid. So I was going to have it be $100 for 100 days, $1 a day, and say, well, why? Because studies show that when you financially pay you're more emotionally invested because you're financially invested, and it also increases your odds by another 28% that you'll likely achieve your goals and stay consistent. Then the next thing is that, but like this is one thing you have to do scientifically. It does this,
Yeah.
and then here's another thing you have to do. So I just have to build it, and it has to be a priority. But right now, it's just one thing at a time. So I got lots of ideas.
It's probably easier than you think. You probably already have the content. You could throw it out as a free offer, and you're probably going to get somebody that rolls in who's like, dude, I want to do it.
Yeah. Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Sweet. Say your Instagram one more time where people can find you.
Free Mindset, FR33 Mindset.
Where's the 33 come from?
It's my old badge number.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's kind of stuck with me for a while. Not that there was identity in that, but that's where this free mentality came. Like my, spirituality, I do believe in Jesus and, like his age at 33 when he, went to the cross, and those are, mindset. There's so much mindset in those words and in what he did. And so I honor that number, and I enjoy it. And so, and it spells free pretty good. And that's what we're longing for. That's what I think we long for, is to have free minds, free bodies, free souls. And we're all free. I think we just don't know it.
Yeah.
We just need somebody to show us.
Hey.
You're
that
crack.
guy. You're that guy. Sorry, crack. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Free Game with Crack podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're tuned in on Spotify, do me a favor and please give it a 5-star review. Kyle, will you give it a 5-star review?
I will. I'll give it 10 if I can. I'll give 2 of them.
Follow Kyle. See you guys next time. Peace out.
Thanks, brother.